cabin of Flight 237 was unusually tense. Passengers whispered among themselves as a police officer, tall and stern, stood at the front of the plane. The flight from Atlanta to Chicago had been delayed for nearly an hour, and now, just as things seemed to be settling, chaos had erupted. A black woman, seated in 14C, was being ordered to stand up. Her deep brown eyes were calm, but her posture was rigid. She wore a navy blue business suit, and a leather-bound notebook rested on her lap. A flight attendant stood nearby, arms crossed, looking both nervous and smug. "I need you to come with me," the officer repeated, his voice firm but controlled. The woman sighed, placed her notebook into her bag, and looked up at him. "May I ask what the charge is?" The officer hesitated. The murmurs around them grew louder. "She was just sitting there," a man in 14 days protested. "This is ridiculous." The flight attendant, middle-aged woman with short blonde hair, stepped forward. "She was being disruptive," she said sharply. "She refused to switch seats." The black woman raised an eyebrow. "I paid for this seat," she said evenly, "and I am exactly where I am supposed to be." The officer shifted uncomfortably. "The airline has the right to remove passengers at their discretion." The woman let out a soft laugh, one that carried no humor. "I see." She took a deep breath, then spoke the sentence that made the entire plane go silent. "You are about to arrest a federal judge." The officer's mouth fell open. The flight attendant's face turned a deep shade of red. The whispers in the cabin stopped instantly. Judge Maya Benson, one of the youngest federal judges in the country, Harvard Law graduate, appointed to the bench at just 38. And now apparently she was being forcibly removed from a plane because a flight attendant had decided she didn't belong in her assigned seat. The officer's face paled as he realized what was happening. "Judge Benson," his voice was suddenly hesitant, his authority crumbling. Maya nodded. "Yes, and unless I'm mistaken, this is a clear case of racial profiling and unlawful detainment." She turned toward the flight attendant. "I will also be filing a formal complaint with the airline and considering my legal options." The flight attendant looked horrified. "I didn't know." "You didn't know because you didn't bother to ask," Maya said coolly. "You assumed." The officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I think there's been a misunderstanding." "Oh, there's no misunderstanding," Maya said, standing up slowly. "You were about to take me off this plane without any legal cause. Now, I suggest you step aside so I can take my seat, or we can have this conversation in front of a courtroom." The officer hesitated for only a second before stepping back. "Of course, Judge Benson, my apologies." Maya sat back down, adjusting her blazer as the entire plane erupted into hushed conversations. The flight attendant, humiliated, turned and hurried to the front of the plane, avoiding everyone's eyes. The man in 14 days let out a low whistle. "Damn, that was something." Maya smiled slightly, opened her notebook and resumed her reading. The plane finally took off, and for the rest of the flight, no one dared to bother her again.